Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like it.
What's up, Jeep Creepers? Alright, today we're going to be working on my Jeep WK. What I need to get done is going to do a brake job on this. I've already done the rears, so I'll demonstrate how to do the fronts, and yeah, we'll get this underway. The first thing you might notice are my Jeep wheels. Yeah, that's right. These are not stock Jeep WK wheels. These are in fact off a newer Jeep Wrangler, probably off, I don't know, 18 or 17. These are brand new takeoffs. So, if you have problems like I have problems, where your wheels keep leaking air, and everybody that I talk to in the wheel industry says, oh, you know, the aluminum wheels oxidize and they don't hold air anymore, and they'll try to clean them, and they can only clean them so many times, and I've heard a bunch of spiels, so I got fed up and decided to buy some new takeoffs. Well, takeoffs off a Wrangler, you get them dirt cheap. I got a set of 4 for $100. Mine actually came with the wheel sensors, now, or the tire pressure sensors. Now, the only problem is the tire pressure sensor on these are not actually compatible with the Jeep WK off a newer Wrangler. They have a different frequency. I don't know what they are. You can look them up, but there's 2 frequencies the Jeeps use. Mine is the older frequency that's no longer used. So I could take the sensors off my old wheels and put them on the new wheels. Just haven't gotten to that yet. No, maybe next time. The only other thing too, I'll show you in a minute once I get this jacked up. Oh, and to anyone doing any kind of work, I like pneumatic tools, but you know what? I am starting to get into the whole new, era here of the electronic tools. This is from Harbor Freight. This is an Earthquake XT 20-volt impact gun. This is the most powerful one I think they sell. It's only a couple $100. They do those things all the time where they compare it to Snap-on and everything. Can't remember how many foot-pounds of torque. I want to say it was way off the charts, like 1,500 foot-pounds of torque or something ridiculous. Needless to say, this is worth every penny. I think they're like a couple $100. I don't do a lot of work on cars, but man, when you do, it's just a lifesaver. It's so much easier than using breaker bars and snapping sockets and everything else. It comes off of these. Jeep WK lugs are 3/4 inch. Knock them off real quick here. As you can see, that was pretty effortless. It was a little bit of a pain to get off, but came off with very little struggle. This thing is crazy fast too. Completely effortless. Alright. And here is what I wanted to show you. So, to get Wrangler wheels, newer Wrangler wheels on a Jeep WK, you have to get what are known as spacers. This is a 1/4 inch spacer. Does a great job. The only reason why you need this spacer is evidently the caliper is so close to the wheel that it's a good idea to kind of get it out a little bit so it doesn't rub. So you can see for yourself, there's no rubbing on the inside of this wheel at all. And I've had these wheels since the winter. and they still look just about brand new. Okay, so what am I changing? The whole thing. Reason why? Well, for starters, I've been told by mechanics and everyone alike that back in the day, I used to do brake jobs. You used to be able to take off your rotor, take your rotors in, and they do what's called turning, where they sand it down, I guess, or re-level it, or whatever they do to them, and give it back to you. Well, I've been told by a lot of people everywhere that rotors are so crappily made now that you can't turn them anymore, or they're just not worth turning anymore. So yeah, so that kind of sucks. But so I replace these all the time now. Of course, I'm changing the pads. A little thing that I like to do too is I use full ceramic pads. Reason for this: I've used I don't know what the opposite of ceramic is, organic or whatever the heck it is, pads. I've had one brake guy tell me that I tow a boat. They're great because they bite real hard. They bite harder than ceramics. But the only thing that I don't like about non-ceramic pads is they make a mess. You just get all that black powder everywhere. It's hard to get off your wheels. I found a higher quality ceramic brake, at least in my experience, hasn't done that. So I usually try to buy a decent set of ceramics. Alright, well, let's get the caliper off first. And to do that, there are a couple of nuts on the back. Or I guess back to my change log, I am changing the calipers too. The reason for that, I talked to a guy at a mechanic shop or parts place. How do you know when to change your calipers? Well, he just kind of gave me a stupid answer of, I just kind of look at it and guess. I've had other people tell me too, depending on what the boot condition is in, like these boots, they're dry rotted and they're probably leaking, and yeah, you can rebuild your calipers. I don't know. I've done a brake job before on a car, on my wife's car actually, and the caliper failed after a year, and it ruined the one side rotor and pad. And guess what? Since it was a year, I had to do a full new set of brakes on the rear end. So won't make that mistake again. Yeah, I'm not gonna do the calipers every time because they're like $80 if you get decent ones. At least for a WK Jeep, but I think I'm gonna, try to eyeball a little bit. These fronts actually, this isn't too rusty. My rears were rusty, but the boots are shot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the whole thing, and yeah, let's get started on that. All right, in case you're wondering, the Caliper Nuts are 14 metric. There you go. Probably shouldn't let it bob like that since it's on the brake line, but yeah, that's all right. The rears are floating caliper, so you got this extra mount or whatever to take off as well. That's held on by a couple really big nuts. All right. Don't have a socket the right size, but I do have some big wrenches, and it's a 13/16. They're on good, so I'm gonna just hammer them off. Voila, she's off. All right, now it's time for the rotor. These are fun to get off. Usually you have to bang the heck out of them because they don't come off nicely. Get a bigger hammer. one doesn't do it, get a bigger one. Careful not to hit your threads. All the rust, but yeah, being here in Michigan, good old salty roads in the winter. There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Alright, got a little bit of a rubber seal here, which I don't think they supplied me with the last time. So I'm just going to reuse that. See what's in my box of goodies. One of the things it's a good idea to buy, Caliper Grease. That makes a world of difference. As I thought, the new Rotor does not have that seal. So I don't know where we get those from. But you can see what a good Rotor looks like. And what a Michigan Rotor looks like. Yeah, the outside is actually sharp to the touch from rust. They just completely deteriorate. And it's pretty worn down. What I also like to do is clean the rotor. Oh man, that dust shield is rust. Oh boy. Go. That's a significant improvement. And then what I like to use is this stuff. Permatex Anti-Seize Lubricant. This will save you a lot of headache on your next brake job. But right now we need to get the caliper changed. So let's figure out what size nuts that is. Oh, that's pretty cool. Didn't even realize that, but the backs are considerably different. So you have that bracket in addition, this guy, which they include with a new caliper. So yeah, that makes life pretty easy. I mean, you just slap this new caliper on there, and Bob's your uncle, and you're done. Not bad, not bad at all. So yeah, let's get a rotor on. I'm just liberally applying this anti-seize. I actually get a little bit on the threads too, or at least on the base of the threads, because the rotor can rust to it. A little bit on the center of this cap too that holds the rotor, just anywhere you think it might rust. So, don't forget your handy dandy little O-ring. I think that's just supposed to keep water and stuff out of the caliper. You take a little bit of that anti-seize that squirts through and kind of rub it on your O-ring. I don't know if it's going to make a difference or not, but do it anyway. Alright. Let's see, do they give me bolts to use? Where's that box? How is it right there? They did not give me bolts to use, so I guess we're using the old bolts. What I did next was I removed the mounting bracket for the caliper, and just using the old caliper as a reference, looking at how my guide plates go in. So, looks like they go in just like that. They snap in and they hold the pad in place. Okay, so those are now in place. Go ahead and put the bracket back on the caliper. So there's once again one unit. Before doing so, actually, this is when you want to use your brake grease. Slide a bunch of brake grease on this bolt. It doesn't tear very pretty, does it? It makes more sense. On this one, I don't know, but it goes into a boot, and I think it's a good idea to keep that nice and lubed in there. greased up, ready to go. There's my handy dandy number 14. Lock it down. Good and tight, snug. So now that's done. Now we can work on figuring out our pads. We got the guides in place. One pad has a little piece of metal shim on it. This is actually like a noisemaker. So when you're, you can see it, this little guy right here. So when the pad wears down, this little noisemaker starts rubbing on the rotor and kind of signifies that, hey, you need brakes. Another neat little fact too, this slot right here actually helps with gases, because when you got all that heat and friction of the pads, you get gas buildup, and it'll actually decrease the performance of the brake. So like high performance brakes, for example, they'll actually have holes drilled in the rotor, and sometimes they'll be cross drilled as well, which is basically just, you know, slotted rotors or whatever you want to call it, drilled and slotted. So you really don't need that, you know, for something like this. The kind of nice thing is it's got a dual piston on it, which is pretty heavy duty, and it kind of evenly applies pressure across these massive pads. This is pretty heavy duty. I couldn't see upgrading this. I mean, sure you can, and there's more performance and whatever, but I mean, there's other things you can spend your money on that's a lot funner too. So these just slide in to our guides. Okay, well, I kind of found a trick to it. Coming from the back side with a flathead screwdriver, it goes in a little bit easier. I guess now's a good time to mention too, if you are changing just the pads, or just the pads in the rotor, especially the pads in the rotor, you're going to need to compress your pistons down. They won't be all the way down. They'll be out as far as the last time that they were used and kind of let off. And when you put in really thick pads, new pads, and a new rotor that's thicker, you won't get them on. So that's kind of one of the nice things about doing a full brake job, is it's a little bit easier in that sense, I guess. See where we put them on. Almost forgot. There's a reason why these are rust-free. There is a protective coating on them. So another additive thing you want to get, brake parts cleaner. And we're just gonna wipe down the surface really well. You can see all this gray stuff coming off, right? Actually, I need to take this off to get the other side really well. Alright, that looks pretty good. And reapply her. Caliper. Along with these. Still kind of surprised they didn't supply me with new bolts, mounting bolts, but whatever. This is heavy, so it's a little bit hard to line up. same noisy beavers? We did. It'd be alright if it's once in a while. It's every day, all day. Kind of makes interesting background sounds for videos. Okay. That is your old white installation. Alright, now we need to take off our brake line from this old Calipers. And, surprise, surprise, they did not give us a dust cover for the nipple, which is used for bleeding your brakes. So hang on to that. That nice and clean on the new one. Just like I said. This is where the impact gun again excels. Because if you are trying to take something off that's floating there, you have no leverage because it's not mounted to anything any longer. An impact gun will still get it off without having to really hold it. Watch and observe. Effortless. Alright, so you're going to start bleeding brake fluid here. So let's back off the new bolt, which holds your brake line on. You'll notice it's got a little hole in it. This bolt also has 2 copper washers. One goes on each side of the caliper. Also, try to keep the caliper upright because it's full of oil. Don't want that everywhere. So, one copper bolt on this side, so, or washer, one copper washer on that side. Why they're copper? I'm not sure. But I bet you a good reason for it. Might be like a anti-corrosive kind of thing, maybe? Oh. I don't like to put things on with an impact gun. I just like to get it nice and tight, the old-fashioned way. Nice and snug. So, hey. Congratulations, you've just done a brake job. The only thing left to do is to bleed the brake. Bleeding the brake's pretty easy. Just need to get a little wrench on this. Not sure what size that is. Let me go grab a couple. Well, can't find my wrench. I think it's a 9. That's one in a spanning wrench, or as I like to call it, a crescent wrench. It's actually a name brand, so that's why some people call it a crescent, some people call it a spanning wrench, because technically that's what it is, it's a spanning wrench. Let's go ahead and loosen up your bleeder. So this is usually a 2-person job. I don't know if I can do it by myself or not, the way I do it at least. What you want to do is pump the brakes, get the fluid going. saw fluid shoot. And then have the other person push down on the brake while you tighten it. Not sure how you do that by yourself. There are kits that they make, sort of like reverse bleeding and things of that nature. Just lock that guy down. Put on your handy dandy nipple. A little brake fluid on it just so it's nice and malleable again, I guess. It's still pretty soft. Okay. All down there. Now we can throw our tire back on it. Not a bad idea to clean up the rust. I've got a pile of it. Looking through my sockets too. Actually a perfect fit for this. It's not a 3/4, it's a 19 millimeter. And I went and bought one. It's kind of cool looking. Looks like a shotgun shell, huh? Always like to put the bottom ones on first. Let's line it up. Alright, what I'm doing here is not tightening, I'm just starting the plugs. So they are flat. Just where they're touching. Okay. Now, we're going to properly torque these. So, lower the car. And what I'm using here is a handy dandy torque wrench. So all you're doing, dialing in the amount of torque. This one's a Harbor Freight one. It's got little numbers on here. You just screw this to get your whole number, and then there's little half numbers if you want to add, you know, up to 10 over the number. I have mine dialed in at 100. I've seen people do a lot more on these. 100 I think is standard for most cars. So I'm just starting at 1, just tighten it a little bit. You're going across, across, across. So across, a little, across, across, across. And as you do this, I'm back on the starting position. As you do this, sometimes you'll notice, oh, hear that clicking? That indicates that is 100 pounds of torque. When you're tightening these, you'll notice some that were tight before are now looser, because you're leveling, oh, that one's good. You're leveling your wheel. Sounds good. Cross. And you really probably only need to go around 3 times. That's good. That one's looser now, see that? That was a little bit looser. Now it's tight. Start back at the beginning, just to double check. Good. Alright, we're all set. So now we've done the one wheel that I just did, which is the driver's side front. The rear's a little bit easier. They got thinner brake pads. The caliper doesn't have a bracket. It's just a floating caliper. It's not really much difference. It's actually easier to do in the front, so what I showed you is a little bit harder. I'm gonna do the other side. You really don't need to see that because basically the same as this side. So there you go. That is how you install a full brake job on a Jeep WK.